Oh, Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has done it again. Old Chael is keeping the lights on because of old Michael Chandler. Now, can I tell you this before I get to Chandler? Can I personalize? Can I throw myself in here? I never had a time in my career where I got more street cred. And I could feel it. I could feel people's excitement to see me or say hello or get an autograph. That sounded gross, didn't it? I'm sorry, but I could feel it. I could actually feel the energy and the excitement around me, and I never got a bigger bounce at a week. Jon Jones refused to fight me, and Rampage Jackson did an interview where he said he was not going to fight me. And Rampage went even further. He basically conceded victory. He said, well, he's just take me down and hold me there, win a decision. He gave me all the things that you get, the victory over him without ever having to throw a punch. I never thrown a punch at either one of them. And it was just an incredible thing. As it was happening, I go, wow, I didn't know you could do that in this sport. I didn't know your stock could go up in fighting without fighting, but it did that week. And you want to know why I tell you that? So the inside scoop on Michael Chandler. If you go talk to Chandler on the side about Conor McGregor, and this dates back way over a year. Hey, what is it you have to gain? How are you getting in this spot? And it's not what all of you think. There is not some new lucrative contract that comes exclusively for McGregor. That is how the story is told. And everybody is happy to continue telling the story that way because they feel that it elevates them. I'm just here to share with you guys, it's not true. Your contract is whatever your contract, whoever the next guy is. And it doesn't change if it's Conor. But if you talk to Michael Chandler, hey, what's this about? Why are you waiting? Why did this fight become so important to you and the one you couldn't let go of? And the answer was very simple. Michael Chandler was playing a long game. And he would explain this to you very calmly. Conor McGregor has the fans. So in Michael Chandler's mind, if he could defeat Conor McGregor, he could leave with a larger percentage of those fans than anybody else that he might be able to get matched up with. And I'm just here to let you know and to let Mike know he's a big fan of the program. He won. He got it. Michael Chandler is getting the same bounce from having McGregor back down from him. And there's no way around it. You might like the discolored pinky toe excuse and you might not. You might believe it, or you might be like me where you say, that is ridiculous. But either way, there was an agreement to fight on a certain night, and there was one guy that said, I am not tough enough to walk out there and even try. I'm conceding to you on that night under those rules that we predetermined to agree upon, I cannot beat you. In fact, I can't even follow the golden rule, which is to protect myself at all times. I'm out. Now, we have somebody do that every weekend, right? You'll play a season of basketball games, and that will never happen ever, not one single time. We can't go from Saturday to Saturday. I have never been in a faker tough guy business than this one, but I digress because it's not actually my point. My point is Chandler got it. And maybe he did have to sit, and maybe he did have to wait. And maybe it was long and it was drawn out and his wife wasn't as thrilled about the checks that were coming in the door. But he still got it. Chandler is a top 5 draw in our sport. And if you challenge that, please lay out 5 that you believe you and the average fan would like to see more than Michael Chandler. Go ahead, I'll wait. And I don't know that was true prior to Chandler going down this road with Conor. Doing the Ultimate Fighter, being in front of you guys on the worldwide leader of ESPN every single week for the duration of that program. All of the headlines that come with it. Even what was to be taken away and turned into what was not created headlines. Michael Chandler he's now pissed off Dustin Poirier. And did you see this? I'm talking about Poirier's interview with Ariel. Like, not he bothered him or he got a response for Poirier. I would have said he bothered him or I would have said he got a response from Poirier. He has pissed him off. There was a tone that Dustin Poirier was taking while discussing Chandler with Ariel that was far more turned up than anything he had against St. Denis, for example. Anything he had in his prior fight against Justin Gaethje, and that was for a title. Anything that he had in his previous fight with Islam. And it all came because Michael Chandler told Poirier to retire. Okay. Okay. So, Michael Chandler fought Dustin Poirier, and he lost. Michael Chandler has not fought since. And that's debated in my mind. I feel like Poirier was his last fight, but then part of my mind says no, when he defeated Ferguson was, and I'm only sharing that, like, you don't have to correct me. It was still that same time frame, and it was still a meaningful amount of time ago. And moreover, Chandler hasn't done much since, and Poirier has done a lot since, right? Including 2 title fights, 3 matches in total. So at least in theory, Poirier would have gotten better by having 2 title fights, 3 matches in total, than Chandler having done nothing, and Chandler lost the first time. So who is Chandler to tell Poirier to retire? Who cares, man? Who cares who he is? It's a brilliant thing to say. It's a brilliant thing to say. And it worked, right? It's the truth that hurts. You're not going to hurt a guy you have to tell lies about him. It's one of these weird situations where I could not support it more. And I also don't think that Michael Chandler, pre this run with Conor McGregor, could have said anything to Dustin Poirier that would have got Dustin Poirier going. I mean, he signed a contract to fight him, and Dustin Poirier didn't get worked up. He was in the cage fighting Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier didn't get upset. But now you have Chandler, who has not competed, telling Dustin Poirier, who has, to just retire. Oh my goodness. And it's, guys, I mean, I must tell you, I never had success, and I was always punching forward, right? I'm a guy that's not even in the UFC. I'm going to bring down Anderson Silva. I'm going to beat up all these guys and do all these things. Always trying to go forward. Just trying to get up the ladder. It was very hard to get up the ladder if these guys that you're calling for dismiss you. In fact, you can just look like a fool doing an interview if you can't find a way to get yourself intertwined with some of these guys. And it was Scott Hall, rest his soul. Scott Hall, who I've tried to pay homage to over the years for the entertainment that he gave me. But he told a story, and he was doing a house show. And a house show is a wrestling term that means to see the show, you need to be in the house. There's no cameras. You must come to the event. And the wrestlers would travel up and down the interstate. And whether they came through Seattle and hit Portland and went to Salem before they hit Sacramento, they just head right up the interstate. So Scott Hall goes out and he does a match and he loses. Gets pinned. 1, 2, 3. In fact, he went to another town and he got pinned by the same guy. And he did another town working the same program. Got pinned by the guy 3 straight times before he gets back to television. He goes on television and he says, I know I can beat this guy. I just pinned him last night in St. Paul. Well, that's not true. He got pinned. He got pinned in St. Paul. Why did he just tell the audience that he won the match? So Kevin Nash asked him that on the way to the back. He said, hey, why did you claim that you won? You got pinned. And Scott Hall said, I'm a heel. Heels lie. And I will just tell you, in my own career, when I could not get some of those guys to pay me, I couldn't get a response from Nogueira. Either one of the Nogueiras. But as soon as I said that they fed a busted carrot because they thought it was a horse, my name was coming out of their mouth. And I'm just sharing for you. There was something about that sets guys off. There is Michael Chandler telling Dustin Poirier, you can't get on the docket with me, young man. Why don't you just retire? When he lost to, people forget, we got new fans here. I got new fans here right now. YouTube sends me how many new subscribers I have a month, and they send that to me every month. Well, I have a brand new audience. And I don't know if that audience came from somewhere else or if they just joined the sport. I don't know. But a lot of them are brand new to the sport. My point being, as much as many of you are going to say, I remember that fight. I remember when Poirier took his back and choked him out. I remember that entire thing. Yeah, okay, you do. But a lot of other people don't. They got drunk and watched the fight. They weren't paying attention to those guys. They weren't big enough fans in the sport. They weren't fans at all. They didn't watch. They didn't even know that it happened. That represents tens of thousands of people who Michael Chandler just led to believe that he is in another category. He is higher up, and he does not have time for Dustin Poirier. I think you can see the brilliance in that. I think you can see the cleverness in that. And I think you can see how that's going to piss Dustin off.